Welcome back to another episode of Cheers to Controversy, where today we will be taking you through a little recap of the Kevin Durant, Michael Rapaport, and he infused himself there with Mr. David Portnoy. We'll be taking you back there from episode 1. We're tackling MLB. Baseball is back, boys. Baseball is back, and we'll probably go from there. So we need to wrap up a little bit something from last episode that Evan read us through, which were some direct messages via Twitter between Kevin Durant and Michael Rapaport. Michael Rapaport goes and releases these messages out into the public. Kevin Durant's asked about it at a press conference and decides that he's going to give his 2 cents and address it. So here's Kevin Durant.
Wait, before you hit play, I think these were DMs on Instagram that Rapaport screenshot and released on Twitter.
Ooh, okay. Got it.
Wanted to make that correction.
No, I appreciate that. So here we go. Kevin Durant addressing his direct messages being released by Michael Rapaport.
What's your response to the reaction to the social media messages that were made public on social media?
I'm sorry that people seen the language I use. It's not really what I want people to see and hear from me. But hopefully I can move past it and get back out on the floor.
There you have it. That is what we are saying.
Was that an apology?
I definitely did not hear an apology at all whatsoever.
You know what? Fuck it. If I was him, I wouldn't want to back that up. I would back myself up. He said what he said. He meant every fucking word of it. Now, granted, should it have been edited by Rapaport, removing all of his shit talking and then posted on Twitter? No, absolutely not. But he said what he said. He clearly meant it. There's no apology to give. Now, granted, as a celebrity, as an athlete, you don't want, 10-year-old, 12-year-old kids reading that type of stuff. But in the same breath, he picked a big boy fight with another big boy, and they had it out. It is what it is. And Rapaport, I think, was a giant douche for editing himself out and then dropping it on Twitter, looking for sympathy, because there's nothing else that you're doing with that other than looking for sympathy. And it went the complete opposite way.
He's a bitch. I mean, here's the thing. It's a private message between two individuals. I don't care if you're a celebrity or not. You're going to take it and put it on a public message board. He's got nothing to apologize about. They were in an argument. Maybe the language is offensive to some people. And he, maybe he shouldn't have said that, but he certainly shouldn't apologize to Michael Rapaport. And honestly, Michael Rapaport should probably apologize to him and give him a $50,000 check.
Michael Rapaport.
I like that.
Yeah, right. Well, Michael Rapaport is drawing attention to himself. So he's doing exactly what he wanted to do, right? He knew exactly what he was doing, wanted to do it. Obviously, not a lot of people are siding with Rapaport, but at the same time, he knew that, and he's getting the response that he wanted, which is attention. That said, I applaud Kevin Durant. I do view this as an apology. He apologized. He said he was sorry for the part he was actually sorry about. Not that he said it, not that he did what he did, but that other people had to see it.
Yeah, well, that's
not his intention.
Correct. He's apologizing that it went out and it was blown up like that and shown to people. But he should definitely not. I didn't catch it as an apology to Michael Rapaport for what he said to Michael Rapaport.
Mm-mm.
It was an apology to us as fans. Hey, I'm sorry you had to see that. And honestly, I don't think you should have to do that because it's a private message. I'm not going to apologize publicly for something that I might say to you on the phone or what I texted you guys earlier. What the fuck are we talking about? Whatever we're talking about. I'm not going to apologize for that because that's a message between us three. If you two want to be bitches like that curly-haired, ugly motherfucker Michael Rapaport and put that on the internet, then fuck you guys. But, I'll go on record right now and say Michael Rapaport is a big old bitch, a big old ugly bitch.
Okay.
Wow.
Kevin challenging, throwing down to Michael Rapaport.
Seriously. So did we hear, has Portnoy jumped back in on any of this? I mean, he went hard in the beginning. I brought it up because I can't even call it research. I got sucked down the rabbit hole of seeing that unfold last week and was just totally enamored by what was going on. Then found out about the KD stuff. And but I haven't seen anything pop up from Portnoy at all. Have you guys?
I have not. I'm not saying he didn't, but
I think it was referenced as the last shot at Rapaport or an ode to Rapaport or something like that. So, I mean, he didn't say anything vulgar. He didn't do anything that was overly aggressive, but it was the whole reason to put it out was a giant fuck you.
Sounds like we're siding with Duran on this one. You know, obviously he's apologizing for the fact that it was seen and released, that other people had to see it, which wasn't his intention. And we can move on. We can move on from this. Evan's challenging Michael Rapaport to a fight. Celebrity boxing match.
I didn't say I'm challenging him to a fight. I just said he's a big old bitch.
Yeah, come on, man. Celebrity boxing match. Jake Paul can do it.
I don't want to mess with a 54-year-old guy that.
Oh, you don't want to hurt him. Please, Hammer, don't hurt him.
Well, it could be a celebrity fight. I mean, we have Giovanni right there and Rapaport. I mean, there's two guys that have hit the big screen, you know?
Ribisi versus Rapaport.
Yeah.
I like it. For the Phillies fans in the room, hell of a start.
Yeah, totally unexpected. We had spoken on a trial run podcast with Senor Billy Bob in regards to the Phillies and where we thought things were going to fall, where we thought the Braves were going to fall, and to take a sweep like that. Now, granted, one of those games was really sketchy up to the end, but to take a sweep like that, then go in and take the first game from the Mets. Dropped second, but convincingly take third game. I'm shocked. I mean, we had a great roster coming into this. I think everybody looked at it on paper and said this should make sense. But based on last year's outcome and the years previous, nothing showed that we were going to make a splash. So not that this is going to be all the way through the longevity of the season, but I am not upset right now. Let's put it that way.
Evan, have you watched any of these games?
Maybe the first one I actually got to see. It's on the weekend. I might catch some of it, but I get pretty much all sported out after soccer. You guys remember when one of my favorites was a Phillies game. So, Frank, you probably remember this. I don't remember who was pitching. I don't know if it was Wolf or who it was. Lieberthal's catching, and the batter goes to charge the mound, and Lieberthal tackles him before he even gets up to the mound. Oh, my God, I love that.
Yeah.
From behind.
He just comes up and grabs his legs and flips him.
I like Lieberthal.
You have one of his foul balls.
Damn right. That's why I like him.
Yeah, I saw him playing Reading.
When you were on the team.
I was his backup.
You were the backup. That's right.
That's right.
Mike Lieberthal's backup. I love it. For those of you who don't know, Evan once got out of a citation or speeding ticket or
DUI.
Maybe potential. No, there was never going to be DUI, but potential anything with the police. And by explaining to them that he was actually a member of the Reading Phillies and he was just lost because he was in Cape May, New Jersey, couldn't find his way. It was late. He was tired due to he played a game earlier today, which we never did look up and verify whether or not they actually played that day. Let alone in
that was before internet. I think I had that nice big Nextel walkie-talkie cell phone. You had a Nokia Snake phone, and our friend Tom, who was with us, had a also I don't know what the hell he had. Who knows?
That was pre-Razor. Like to really
Yes.
date it for everybody who had cell phones.
Pre-Razor.
Everybody knows the Razor cell phone.
That might have been Razor time.
No, it was like a year or two before.
No, because
Razor.
I'm trying to think because my other friend Tom had a Razor, the friend that you know really well, the Tom you know really well.
Yeah.
He had a Razor, and I think his first phone was a Nokia, and I think he got his first phone when we were around 16. And then
Either
his
way,
next
then it was
phone
right
a Razor.
around that time then
Yeah.
of when that phone had come.
I had that Nextel phone up until I was like 24 years old.
Sure. Well, you could look like ESPN analog.
My Zach Morris phone was my Zach Morris phone. Dude, I left that Nextel phone when I was living at another Tom. I was living at that house with up in Virginville. I left it outside. We had a party. I got drunk. I left it outside and I couldn't find my phone. And I literally didn't have it for like 3 days. And I found it 3 days later when the snow melted in a yard. And that thing still worked.
Yeah.
Now, if you sneeze on these phones now, they like say, hey, your headphone jack doesn't work.
Oh, well, I know all about that. Don't put them in the washing machine.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys remember from the last episode, my wife throws her phone in the washing machine, which we have replaced. We've replaced the cell phone.
So it did not do well in the rice.
Ooh, we didn't even know. We didn't
You
do
didn't even
that.
go
We
to the bag of rice? No.
No, she loved the phone. She was really hoping to turn back on, but going to the grocery store, which is literally like a mile away, was too much to get the bag of rice. So
The rice works. The rice
I
works.
know. I've heard it works. I've
Beth
also heard
likes
it doesn't work, but it's worth trying.
Beth likes to put her phone in the cup holders in the boat. Frank, you know how not smart idea that is.
No.
So when you're going over waves or you're going at any speed, that water's flying right into that cup holder and sitting there,
Yep.
and your phone's sitting there in that. I think she's done that like 3 times, and so we keep rice on the boat.
Well, I went to T-Mobile. We have Sprint. I went to T-Mobile to identify what my options were, and the guy's like, "You have no options, and you have to pay. You actually have to pay for the phone that you apparently have been on an extended lease because we set it up that way when you were with Sprint and we took over. So essentially, we've been leasing these phones that we already had paid enough money to own. So I had to call in and get that rectified. So they ended up giving us money back, which was okay, great. That's great. So we got that cleared up because otherwise we won't be able to replace our phone. So I go to a different T-Mobile store and the guy's like, "Look, if you can get the phone to turn on and take a picture, if you can get the phone to do those 2 things, we will give you $830 for the phone towards a brand new iPhone 12 Pro, which is the one that she wanted."
Which is
So I'm like, "Okay, great."
brick.
So I walk across the street to the restaurant because she was getting we were going to eat some lunch, and I tell her like, "Hey, book the appointment with the Apple Store." So she books the appointment for the Apple Store for me the next day. I go to the Apple Store. I have an appointment for 2:30. I go to walk in, and they're like, "Oh, hey, excuse me, like, you need to, you can't come in." And I was like, "Oh, I have an appointment." And they're like, "Right, what time is your appointment for?" I was like, 2:30. It's like 2:28. They point to this long ass line. They're like, "Oh, you can go in there." No, I was like, "I don't have to go stand in line. I have an appointment." They're like, "No, you have to go in the line." I was like, "Wait, so I have an appointment to stand in line?" And they said, "Yeah, I have a fucking appointment to stand in line. Go to the doctor's office." Well, you're in Apple's. You're retail. They don't care. So I go stand in line, watch my MLB package on the phone, catch a little bit of the Yankees Orioles. Half hour goes by. I'm finally allowed in this store. And the guy says to me that, "Hey, the phone's probably not going to work." I was like, "Well, we're going to take it apart. We're going to check." "What do you mean it's not going to work?" He's like, "No, I can tell." He's like, "You can see here it got wet, so it doesn't work." I'm like, "This is a waterproof phone. When we bought it, you marketed it as a waterproof phone. It fell in the washing machine and was taken out a mere 2 to 3 minutes later. It didn't get roughed up in the washing machine; just fell in." Well, he's like, "No, it's not going to work." I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "What are my options right here?" He's willing to sell me a new iPhone XR for $500 here. And I was like, "So what? I keep both phones?" No. You have to trade the phone in. I'm like, "Well, you just told me the phone doesn't work." "Well, the phone, we still want the phone. Why do you want the phone if it doesn't work?" Sounds like a bunch of shit. So I just start raising hell. I'm like, "So you're telling me this phone doesn't work, but you want me to give it to you because you can't fix it. You market it as a waterproof phone," and I'm just getting louder and louder. And he's like, "I'll tell you what, we could actually probably do it for $400. Eventually, we got down to $300. Sells me a brand new iPhone XR, tells me 3 times, "You cannot return this phone." I was like, "Okay, I don't care." He's like, "Okay, we're gonna go ahead and load this up, and do you have your T-Mobile passwords?" I'm like, don't even, you don't have to do anything. I'm going to T-Mobile. Don't do anything. So it's literally on like the welcome Will Coleman. I guess it rotates that screen. I leave. I go to T-Mobile. I give them the phone. They give me $830 towards the new phone. For the $300 phone.
You.
And
Every fucking time.
No,
Rolo
not
rolls
every
us
time.
off.
Not every time. His
Or this
yard
time.
got trashed by getting some free aeration.
Oh, we don't have a bill yet. We don't know what's going on with that yet. That's still in limbo.
I pray every night before I go to
Every
bed.
fucking time,
Every
Rolo.
night I pray that
Rolo
you're going to get a
gets
bill
this
for that.
shit to fall in place every time.
I'm still out there. Yeah, I ended up better than I would have had I just shown up. But, And then my wife goes, see, we needed the Apple Care. And I did the math. And I'm like, if we would have bought Apple Care, that would have been $300 plus 99 to get it fixed. It would have been 400. So technically we ended up on top by not having the Apple Care. But that's a story for another day. Yeah, as far as the aeration goes, Easter just happened. And my landscaper came over for Easter.
I saw the photos.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. So now I know who he is.
Now you know who he is.
That guy. Okay.
Yeah.
He came over. Guess what's in the yard? A brand new AT&T wire.
Is it at least 6 inches low?
Well, so they buried mine. They ran a new above ground one that they haven't buried yet, but through my runway that's being wired into the neighbor's yard. So apparently whatever they fixed at my place did not end up 100% fixing his problem. So I'm waiting here on that. I haven't heard anything about that yet. It's just a nice wire just hanging out in the yard, and I haven't said anything. I'm not reaching out to anybody. I'm not touching it. We're just going to see if this problem resolves itself.
Let it go.
Yeah. But we gave him a hard ass time about it. And he really is a great guy. And what's funny is somebody else locally around here who is friends of mine, his girlfriend needs landscaping done, and he heard us in the beginning there talking about it. So we actually got him some work out of it.
There you go. Chopping up lines and we get some more business.
Yeah. I mean, he does some really, really, really impressive. What he was doing for me was a favor. He doesn't do that. He does the bigger projects where it's actually like the design and putting everything. So those kind of things. But yeah, so the old phones, I mean, they were a lot better than these newer ones.
I looked to see if BlackBerry was going to make a comeback. Apparently somebody just bought them or bought the rights to BlackBerry. So we'll see.
They're super secure. I think there's some of their security.
Well, that was actually the reason that somebody's trying to have them make a comeback is the business security aspect of it. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that just took place. I don't even think it was 10, 12 months ago that somebody bought the rights to it. So I mean, it's gonna end up taking, I'm sure, 2 years to get the technology up and get production out. So
yeah. But so MLB's got some controversial stuff going on. Obviously, we just talked about the Castellanos thing and to let the kids play. But I have something here, a little bit of a segue. For the first time in the history of softball, slow pitch softball, I saw a team score 0 runs in one game.
In softball?
Yeah. Last night.
It wasn't like 5 and 6 year olds softball.
Nope. I was on this team. Wow. I was on this team. We scored 0. We had 3 hits.
How?
Yeah, how is that possible?
Our second batter of the game got a hit.
You didn't get a hit? You only got 1 hit, so you're partially responsible.
I only got 1 at bat.
Why?
When you're losing by more than X runs after 3 innings, the game is over. So I only got 1 at bat.
Sounds like you should have hit the ball further.
It was admittedly only a single. It was a single. I made it to second base, I think.
So
that was it.
I remember I stopped playing slow pitch softball probably 2 or 3 years ago. And I hit a ball, and I'm left-handed. So the way that a lot of the fields, I mean, you obviously play on slow pitch. So a lot of times on the slow pitch fields, at least in this area, there's partial fences, like there's fences going around. And most of the fences, when they do the partial fences, it's designed for a right-handed batter, right? To hit a home run. Lefties, ball can go wherever it needs to go, right? So they also will play, they were playing really hard pool on me. So I closed up my stance, swung late at slow pitch, so it's a lot easier time. Hit the opposite field. They weren't ready. The guy's running. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna at least get a triple out of this, dude. I'm coming around second base so hard. I'll have to find the video because somebody was recording it.
Yep.
And and it's just, you can just see me. I get about halfway to second base. I'm like, my timing's off. My feet, I'm gonna go right over this bag. Like, I'm not taking this right. And I just lose and tumble, go through the bag. I think I rolled. I picked the bag up out. I'm holding on to the bag as I'm sliding into center field as I tripped and stumbled. Sliced. Yeah, that was the last season I played slow pitch softball. I've never had anything more embarrassing in my life.
When's the comeback, man?
Probably not. I got too much shit going on. I'd go play indoor again before I'd play that.
There you go. I play a little indoor. I'll tell you what, you never realize how out of shape you are until you just randomly start to play indoor soccer.
No. And up here, it's like a combination between ice hockey and wind sprints for basketball. That's all.
Yeah.
Indoor soccer is here.
It's constantly shift, right?
They put two of the fields have boards up, and there's no out of bounds. So it's literally, yeah.
That's how we do it too, down here anyway. That's interesting. So our team's actually like really good. We won
Apparently
the championship. We won the championship pre-COVID.
Yeah, we're really good.
It's the same team. We have one of our players played for the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
And we have two other kids who played D1. These are baseball, obviously, so there's a little bit of a difference. But we had two guys out who were pretty good. We had some subs. But no excuse. Slow pitch softball. I've never ever seen it in my entire life. 0 runs. We tinkered with the lineup. I can't even say what the lineup's for.
Everybody's trying to hit the home runs and probably popping out, right?
I'd love to say that was 100% it, and that does happen on this team, but no, that was not the reason. Some of it was a little bad luck, which you're going to have to get that result, but some of it was just people just miss hitting the ball.
Is this a beer league? Like, and I mean an aggressive beer league? Like, is this shots, flasks, people bringing a bunch of shit?
No. Okay. So in Charlotte,
this is like Miller Lite. Let's drink a little bit of water with some alcohol in it.
You're actually not allowed to drink at the fields during the games because they're considered parks, and you're not allowed to drink at a park here.
Gotcha.
People, we meet up at the bar beforehand, but nobody's hammered. You can't. It was definitely not that. I mean, people have a couple of drinks. That's about it.
With the league I was in, our captain had the keys. We always played at 3 different fields, right? We rotated. We had a bunch of teams that were involved. So your day was at one of those 3 fields. One of the fields was a private club. And so they had a bar there. And somehow our captain, who may or may not have had several DUIs and a few alcohol-related problems, had the keys to the bar. We would show up for our 8:30 game, and there was already a couple hours of libations being had prior to. I mean, it was a shit show. That was team 1. Team 2 was way more controlled. There was still, beers and shots in between games and stuff, but team 1 was really alcohol focused, which showed in the record. Team 2 that I was on a couple years later was a little bit more record focused with beer on the side, but you could see the difference in play for sure.
Yeah, trust me. In this league, you don't want to be too tipsy. I mean, some of these guys are ripping the hell out of this ball.
Yeah.
I mean, you're shooting lasers down the left field line. This team actually can go left and right. Like, our team can pull really well. We can go opposite field, but it's going to have a little loft to it. I mean, these guys were hitting lasers to the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, I just think you guys talking about beer leagues. I think that all sounds awful. I mean, I like to drink like the rest of them, but I don't think I can do sports and drink at the same time. It just sounds
old man softball is not a sport. It's
but I hit
station
the
to
ball.
station.
I'm still gonna run as fast as I can, and I'm.
Oh yeah, and you hurt yourself.
No, I'm just telling you. First of all, I hate running. It's a punishment. If somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to go out for a run," I'm going to ask them, "What did you do wrong?" Because my association with running is I made a bad pass, I dropped the ball, I made a bad throw, I mouthed off to my coach. I hate it. It's punishment.
Didn't we all play soccer at one point?
Yeah. I probably played soccer the most recent. I stopped playing indoor like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Evan has a few championships under his belt. Soccer field.
Yeah. It was just funny hearing the anti-running scenario.
But I hate
being
it. I hate it.
assaulted.
I'll do it for sport, but I can't. And like I said, I don't mind rolling bases, but I could. If you drop a beer in me, pull out a chair, I'm not moving from it.
It's so funny because
fair.
I actually remember when we were younger, middle school or freshman in high school, somewhere in that area, where we went to one of your games. And I want to say we were not sober.
No, I had a concussion.
No, you did not have a concussion. Unless I accidentally, when I purposely hit you to cover up what we did, gave you a slight concussion.
I had a bike accident.
You did have a bike accident. You did have a bike accident. But it was really just the bike was moving at 0 miles per hour. You stood up on it. The handlebar went sideways and you just flipped over the top of it.
You said I Superman.
That sounds like
you put your arms out. You were celebrating the fact that you were falling. Absolutely. You did Superman.
That sounds like a Jorge scenario.
Oh no, this was better than a Jorge scenario. This is a scenario where we are drinking with some girls in a cornfield in Fleetwood, Pennsylvania. Okay, I mean, just to give you the backdrop.
Yeah, Frank, you know the town. You're familiar.
Yeah, you know the town. So
does
in
my
the middle
father.
of the cornfield. No, these guys. I don't know. Was it the girls that did this, or was it just like a bunch of you guys in high school? Like whoever carved out this area, they carved out an area.
About the one behind her house.
Yeah,
it was just there. Just
It's just like this carved out. It was almost like a room because of the corn height. And they had like furniture.
No, that was in the barn. That was in the barn.
Okay, it's furniture in the barn. Okay, well then there was blankets or whatever. I mean, they had this thing like actually like set up, like claimed like this is our square in the cornfield. Anyway, so we're drinking with these girls in the cornfield and enjoying their company. And before you know it, we realize that we are extremely late to where we're supposed to be, which is at Evan's mother's house. Because again, Evan, how old are we? At the oldest, we were 15. I couldn't drive yet.
I had your driver's license yet because it would have been spring. You might have just turned spring, summer. You might have just turned 16, but you wouldn't have had your driver's license yet.
No, I'm not like the kids today, dude. I'm not like the kids today. I got that shit right away. Like right away.
Anyway,
so did you.
You're 15, 16 years old.
Yeah. So we are supposed to be at his place to go to this baseball game. And previously, they had called the game against the team they're playing. There's a other game that they called the Darkness. And like Evan apparently was like lighting up the field and had.
We're playing Oli. I hated
that. You hated the team. There was a big rivalry between the team. It was a close game. So they had to finish the game and then play the new game. Well, we're leaving, and Morgan, his friend Morgan, says,
"Tom,
yeah,
Mrs. Tom,
women get
Temessa.
Morgan doesn't get a pass. She's cool with it. I don't even have to ask her. So she is like, I'm going to call Evan's mother, and I'm going to tell her the story. I'm like, don't do that. I'll figure this out. I will figure this out on our way there. So I don't know my way around the town like Evan does. So we do get Evan stabilized on this bike, and we start to go, and he goes, let's cut through the field. It'll be quicker. Well, in my head, that makes sense. Okay, all right, you take an angle, you're going to go quicker. Well, the field's fine, but then midway through, it turns into a high wheat field where it's taking up the pedals and the chain on the bikes, so you can't pedal anymore. Well, he can't carry the bike because he's actually kind of hammered a little bit. And I wasn't drinking as much, so I wasn't sober, but I wasn't where he was. So now I'm carrying these two bikes through a wheat field, and his mother, when we pop out the other side, is running down the street with not a cellular phone, a cordless phone that's losing reception because she's getting too far away from the house, screaming at us. And I know that she knows a story about what we did that I don't know. So I don't know what they told her happened. I have no clue. But the story is ridiculous. I'm able to get. She's like, "Oh my God, are you okay? What'd you do? Da da da. Why were you over at Morgan's? We went there first, and then just stopped." She's like, "Oh, you went." She's telling us why we did. "Oh, you went there first to see if he was okay. You should have just came here first." I'm like, "Well, we didn't know." Blah blah blah. So we eventually actually get the story from her because she calls the doctor's office and tells him the story, and she's essentially saying that he was playing baseball. And we were throwing the balls in from the outfield, and one of them struck them in the head. That I was throwing the balls in from the outfield because he was taking batting practice to get ready for this very important game. That's obviously not what happened.
Believable.
Oh, the best part is she's on the phone with the doctor, and he's like, "Well, is there anything up there? I don't know. He's slurring his words. He might have a concussion." I'm like, "Oh my goodness."
She said he's walking like a drunken sailor. Those are her exact words.
Walking like a drunken sailor. So what do we do? So we go upstairs. He's like, "Dude, you gotta hit me in the head with a baseball." I was like, "I'm sorry, come again? What?" He's like, you gotta hit me in the head with a baseball. We need to make it look like, I got hit in the head with a baseball. So I take this baseball and I hit him in the head. And I probably put as much force as like a 6-year-old girl could have put into this thing. And he's like, you gotta hit me harder. And I look at him and I'm like, I know.
He's crying. I'm crying.
I didn't want to do it. Right. So I did though. I reached back and I fucking clocked him.
Yeah, we had the marks. You got the stitch marks on my forehead.
Right in the,
that's perfect. I mean, if you're going to make sure that there's proof.
He's got these stitch marks, right? His stitch marks right on his head. It's a little bump, nothing major. I mean, just a little bit of bump. And then
my mom, it was massive. Oh, I can really feel it.
Oh yeah, right. So technically, so that worked, right? We get to the game, and he can actually. That's the best part. He convinces his mother to let him go to the baseball field
before the doctors,
before the hospital. The hospital, not the doctor. The
doctor sees me, and they're gonna know I'm fucking drunk. I'm like, I gotta get to that game. I'm like, Mom, it's such an important game. It's the Oli. I hate these guys. Yeah.
Yep. And so she lets us go only for the completion of the original game, which is like an inning, maybe an inning and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that was their compromise, right?
Yeah.
So we get there, we get on the bench, and the whole plan, we're like, don't tell anybody. Yeah, that lasted like 2 minutes. We're asking everybody, we're like, we need like food and Gatorade, like anything you got. Like people giving us sunflower seeds.
And these are a whole bunch of other 15 to 16-year-olds that are like, you're fucking drunk. I was like,
right. So the game
and they're all like, what's it feel like?
Right? Yes.
I feel like I got hit in the fucking head with a baseball.
We go to the hospital. They make us sit. We got to wait. They bring him in. They give him a CAT scan. That's how far we take this.
Yeah, I got a CAT scan. That's right.
Give him a CAT scan. They call me in and they ask me the story. And so, I'm just like, wow, I threw the ball in and I was throwing them all in and he just wasn't looking, and I guess, and they wanted to hit him in the head. They're like, well, what side of the head did it hit him on? So I'm like doing this like an idiot. His left side. Definitely the left side. Because, the ball could have hit him anywhere in the head, because apparently I'm supposed to be throwing this thing from about 250, 300 feet away. But, I'm sitting here lining up like, all right, well, I cocked my hand back here and I smacked him. Okay, it's the left side of his head. Anyway, so long story short, they diagnosed him with a slight concussion. And as Evan said, we were younger, and our reward for being such good little boys throughout the entire ordeal was we got to go to McDonald's. And there was no cap on what we were allowed to order as much as we wanted.
We got chicken nuggets and some French fries. I think we supersized those bitches.
We got like 3 meals. What are you doing? They're like, you get whatever you want. It's like, oh yeah, give me a quarter pounder meal. Give me double quarter pounder meal with a 20-piece nugget. Oh yeah, let's do it.
And then I decided to tell my mom that it was all a lie. 10 years later, and my dad's like, I fucking told you. We were sitting at a table. It was like one of the times you would come down to the house. I don't know if it was for somebody's birthday or somebody it was. We're sitting at the table, and you brought it up. And my dad and my mom's like, shut up. And my dad's like, I fucking told you. And I think I was telling you, I was like, Mike, no, don't. Like, my parents love me too much.
Oh yeah. I didn't know that.
I'm the good child.
You are.
So based on your lying indiscretions and underage drinking, did they change the All-Star game location within Berks County? I'm curious.
We didn't tell anybody till years later.
Yeah.
I mean, we were adults at that.
And unlike Michael Rapaport, my teammates were really good at keeping things a secret that I said to them privately, whether they were offended or not.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, they didn't move the County All-Star, his Little League World Series
Berks
team.
County All-Star game stayed where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, so MLB, right? Back on the MLB topic, they decided to yank the All-Star game out of Atlanta, sending it to Colorado. I mean, I guess they just announced that yesterday, but yanking the All-Star game out because they disagree with some of the politics, the new voter law in Georgia. Anybody read up on this?
Not as much as I wanted to, but I got the gist of it, so I'll throw my 2 cents in when it's applicable.
It's applicable now, man. I want to hear. What are your 2 cents on this?
What the fuck is MLB making? Like, just play the fucking game. Just play the fucking game. Period. MLB is overstepping in multiple ways, just like other sports are. I get it. Just like corporations are doing, there's a lot of virtue signaling. They're taking stances. It's no. Play the fucking game.
I mean, for me, it's really interesting the way that it's shaking out. So MLB, America's pastime, right? It's supposed to be this unifying thing where anybody, regardless of what you think, can enjoy it, get away from everything you're supposed to be doing.
It's every sport.
Watch some baseball. Yeah, but especially baseball. But you're right. It is every sport. What's interesting about it, though, is specifically that it's the All-Star game. The All-Star game brings representatives from different cities with different beliefs and different players to all come together and play this unified game where everybody gets to see these players play against each other at the same time, which is something that you only get once a year. Kind of like the United States, where we all have different states and they all think different things and they all have different beliefs, but we're not going to champion that. My issue is not necessarily Georgia piece of it, why they decided to pull it, but that they even decided to pull it or take a political stance in either direction.
See, I'm the opposite. I care less about the effect. I care more about the cause and why they did it.
What do you mean?
Well, I care about the cause and why they did it. I care about the fact that the president of the United States got up on a national conference or got up on a national podium and flat out lied to everybody. The Washington Post said that he lied. He still hasn't admitted that what he said wasn't true. He might not even lied intentionally. He probably just fed and said what the handlers told him to say. But that there caused outrage from all these other companies and from MLB. And it's all bullshit. It's not true. Okay.
What do you say that wasn't true?
Voting hours. Closing polling stations, closing at 5 o'clock. So how are good, hardworking, middle-class Americans going to be able to vote? Yet that didn't change. If you live in Georgia, you can still go to election day till the polls close at 7 o'clock.
They actually extended it.
They
set early voting.
Yes. So that is still available. So do your homework on it. You can still vote normal hours. They didn't change it. Not allowing food or water to be distributed for people standing in line. Also not true. What they did, and I'll share a little bit of story because I remember this the first time I was eligible to go vote when I was 18. I got in line. I was nervous. I didn't know what I was doing. I went by myself. And that was before, years ago, when things were different and there weren't so many voting things in effect. And I'm glad that some of them are. But I remember going to my polling station, not really sure if I was at the right polling station. Again, nervous. I had never done this before. And there's people with signs sitting right next to the line, yelling, standing people. I stood there for about 5 minutes. I turned around and I got back in my car and I left because I was intimidated. So the idea of that is to get rid of intimidation. People using this as a guise to hand out water, hand out food, or say this, get in your face and try and tell you why you shouldn't vote for this person or why you should. And that can be a Republican thing. That can be a Democrat thing. That can be an independent thing. That has nothing to do with politics. They did not say that food and water can't be passed out. Food and water can be passed out. It just has to be done by the people actually working the polls, not people there to try and discredit or discourage you, is what I meant to say, from voting, which happened. It happened personally to me, so I strongly agree and believe with that. Okay. They also said about the fact that they're limiting early voting, which they're not limiting early voting. In fact, I think they actually expanded the early voting.
They added it. They added Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday voting.
And the only thing they changed on the hours where they said they mandated it, that the early voting has to go until 5, but the states the counties can extend it if they want to extend it. So that's up to individual counties. So
the state mandated it has to be open to a minimum of time X. The counties can do longer if they have the manpower to do so.
Correct.
Okay.
So you guys know what state Biden's from, right?
Delaware.
Delaware. Okay. So they do require identification, and they only have same-day voting. So if he's so worried about Georgia, why doesn't he fix his own fucking state that he's been in politics? Now, granted, he was not a representative of the state of Delaware in the state legislature, but his own fucking state is way
And,
more
and there's
restrictive
many
than
other states that
Georgia.
require voter ID. But let's jump on that really quick because that's another piece too. Yes, they want to require voter ID. That voter ID does not literally need to be a driver's license or a state issued ID. You can, and by the way, it's free if you want to get one. You can get a free voter ID card in Georgia. They're not charging for it.
So that's a big part.
They're also
That's new,
accepting
right?
bills, bank account statements, things like that. But they're requiring it. By the way, if someone's offering you a free ID, you get it. Because here's the thing I'm going to tell you. You need an ID to get welfare. You need an ID to get a job. You need an ID to get food stamps. You need an ID to get on a plane. You need an ID to buy cigarettes. You need an ID to buy alcohol. You need an ID to get a fucking library card. You need an ID for everything.
You need an
okay?
ID to
COVID vaccine.
rent a house.
You need one to
I
get
mean,
the
to
COVID
live.
vaccine. You need one to get cold medicine. A lot of cold medicine now you need to give your ID for. Like Claritin.
Whether you're
Right.
Democrat or Republican, you should want an ID because I know I don't want anyone else impersonating me and going in, no matter who I'm casting my vote for, and taking my vote because I truly believe my vote counts, and you should too.
Is that what they're worried about? Now, is this bill or law that Georgia put forth, is that what allowed the IDs to be free? Is this part of it, or had they already had free IDs available to people in Georgia?
I don't know. Well, it's free voter IDs, but I mean, it's a step to going and getting an ID.
So it's a picture ID is what they're saying for the voter IDs, right? They're going to give complimentary or free picture IDs.
I don't know if it's picture ID or not.
I think it is.
I would be happy to have the government support free identification cards or some form of ID, photo ID, non-driver's license, whatever the case is, in order to make that happen. So anybody who says that it's a poverty scenario that they can't or won't, that's alleviated.
Well, we give away so many things that, I mean, and if you really think about it, what does it cost to make an ID? $2, $1, 30 cents. I don't know. Why isn't that free? Even somebody who's gainfully employed and earns $200,000 a year shouldn't have to spend $25 to get an ID. We should all just be able to have an ID. I don't think it should be federal government mandated. It should be state mandated. It'll cost them nothing. They want to spend billions of dollars, these individual states, on the most ridiculous fucking things, but we can't get individuals IDs, which they need to do things in their life. They need it to do everything. That should be a priority for every state. We want to help lower the wealth gap, do all this shit. Well, the first step is to make sure people have proper identification so they can get those jobs that will help in that situation.
What's the big push against that? Who's going against the idea of getting people IDs? And here's the thing. These companies donate tons of money to all these political things. Somebody's got to have the money in their pocket to just donate to certain states to get IDs.
The funding they put towards the dumbest shit would cover just about everybody in a state.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's and again, I don't want to get politically sided on it, but it's always been one side prefers voter ID, one side doesn't.
It's a new thing. It's not always. It's a new argument, by the way. It's just a new argument over the past 8 years.
Well, I was gonna say the last few cycles, but it's been sided, and I would definitely say that there's a harvesting scenario on one side compared to the other, where not having any identification is very important to the mass volume of votes.
Is this the main problem that everybody has with the Georgia voting law? Are the other things just talking points? Even I haven't said.
No, I think they're compiling them all together. So the voter ID, the reduced hours, which is bullshit. The not allowing food or drink to people standing in line, also bullshit. It's all things that they've concocted into this draconian idea that they've created that is so oppressive and suppressing the vote, again, which is bullshit. But
it took me 10 minutes to find this Georgia law so that I could actually attempt to try to read it on Google. 10 minutes, because it's just buried. If you Google Georgia voting law, all you get is news articles.
Yeah.
You get nothing as far as here's the actual law.
I was going on looking specifically for kind of a pros and cons, like a side-by-side scenario as far as arguments, because I love I love arguments from both sides. Anybody who just wants to hear their own side is a fucking moron.
Sure.
So I was going specifically to look at side by side. Like I want to know what both sides are saying is the reason for their thought process. And on Google, you can't find anything. I literally put that in DuckDuckGo, and within the first few tabs or articles, I was able to find a little bit of what I wanted.
So
But
people
you
who are
cannot find
against voter IDs, what's their reason for being against voter ID? What did you find?
There's nobody's open about it, but it's literally ballot harvesting.
Okay.
They're hiding behind. So, and I think this is the most racist thing I've ever heard in my life. They're saying that it's oppressive to the minority vote, which in itself, just somebody saying that is the most racist fucking thing I've ever heard.
They're
So
saying that
you're
minorities
telling
don't
me-
have the competence to get IDs?
Yes. Competence or money. So basically, they're just grouping an entire race into 100% completely poor, 100% completely incompetent.
If they're
and
free,
their vote-
like they are in Georgia, how much money they have doesn't matter.
So that's the thing. So if they're free, okay, but are there access issues, or is it anybody can get one easily as well?
One of the arguments is that they don't know where or don't have access to get to a DMV or wherever to get a license or some form of ID, which again is so.
Didn't we just go through a process with whether you asked for it or not? Didn't people just mail out ballots? I mean, I know I have relatives in New Jersey who got like 4 ballots mailed to them. They never requested any.
Yeah.
Because they were just doing it to mail everybody.
Yeah.
If you can make your way to the poll, I imagine you can make your way to a place where you can get the ID.
You can make your way to a drop box. If you can make your way to the post office, you can make your way to the poll. I'm sure you can do it.
So is it that easy to get the IDs, or is there a process? I guess we don't know.
I have no fucking clue. I have a driver's license.
So Evan, I get your point. I get your point about like, hey, I have an issue with the president of the United States insinuating to Major League Baseball that they would like them to make a stand, and then Major League Baseball reacting to that. I totally have an issue with that too. But my side of it is more of, I don't want MLB taking political stances in either direction or against something I
agree with
like.
that.
Right.
But again, this is it's a whole moot point because it shouldn't even matter, because it shouldn't be an issue, because it's a bullshit, lie, made up issue that never should have even taken place to begin with.
Okay. Now, I know they moved it to Colorado. I know Colorado has ID requirements for same-day voting, but it doesn't have to be a picture ID. They have other forms of ID that are available other than picture ID.
Doesn't need to be a picture ID in Georgia either.
I think same-day voting, it might have to be picture ID. I think early voting, you're right. You could use utility bills and everything else for the other pieces.
Wait, no. Hold on, Mike. We're gonna have to look into this a little bit more. Is it? Okay. I don't think it's same day voting. I think it's same day registration.
Okay.
I think it's people going saying, "Hey, I need to register to vote same day as the election day."
Got you. Okay.
And that I'm absolutely. You need to prove everything at that point. If you're literally because there's people that literally have buses driving around collecting homeless people and saying you need to come to vote. We'll pay you whatever, $50, $100, and they're like, "Fuck yeah, I'll do it," but I'm not registered to vote. And then they're taking them to get their voter ID. I'm sorry, at that point you need to at the very least have picture ID to get your registration to vote.
Okay.
Just my opinion.
So MLB is at the heart of this now. Are they getting support for this? Or are they getting backlash for this, or a little bit of both?
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. All right. NBA just had their All-Star game in Georgia as well before this became official. And I remember them making a statement about it, saying that they wanted to use the platform to bring awareness to it and to discourage this becoming a law. And MLB saying, because it's become a law, we're going to go ahead and punish Atlanta, essentially.
So, and part of it was when it was still, and the NBA kind of does maybe have a little bit more leg to stand on, because at one point, the bill that was actually, the law that was actually passed as opposed to what was originally put forward, yeah, it changed a little bit. So maybe the NBA did a good thing and helped change some of the things that were in there. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I mean, honestly, I'm in Pennsylvania. I don't really pay that much attention to Georgia. I do now because I hear what's going on. But yeah, I don't want sports in there. But
should we all leave it to the states? Should individual states be able to, like, hey, this is our vote. This is how we cast our vote. Should they have the right to do it how
they've always had the right since the very beginning of this republic.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that.
This is a states' rights based country, and somehow in the last 100+ years, it has been totally stolen to the federal side of things. The federal government was created to make sure states didn't remove rights of citizens. The federal government was never created and said, okay, states, now you have rights. It was the other way around, and it's been galvanized completely.
Okay, yeah, so I agree with you. So the states should have the ability to create their election laws as long as they don't infringe upon the Constitution. And the federal government's job is to make sure that the states are not violating the rights of the people. And that's pretty much the extent of it. Fair enough. So there you have it. It's MLB. Lots of controversy, but boy, are we glad baseball is back. Well, Major League Baseball launches a campaign saying, let the kids play. They did this about 2 years ago. They've been reiterating it. And essentially they're saying, we want the game to be a little bit more fun as opposed to the more classic game that it used to be. We want to see more of those epic Jose Bautista style bat flips where he just chucks the thing after he jacks one in the playoffs, which was the most amazing bat flip I've ever seen in my entire life. So they've launched this campaign. Take a quick look, just a couple seconds here on the Let the Kids Play campaign from MLB.
They said rules are rules. Don't stop and stare.
A little grippy.
No more talk. Let the kids play.
All right, so it just goes into a lot more of the whole, now they're showing more bat flipping, but with a more aggressive style creative music, saying we're encouraging it from here on out. So MLB, trying to appeal to the youth, trying to be more fun, says, let's go. Let's do this bat flipping. Let's have some fun. Let's do what we do. And then this weekend, Reds Cardinals have beautiful series, beautiful rivalry. And Castellanos hits a home run, and he flips that bat. He flips it pretty damn good, too. No brawl. He gets up again. He gets hit by a pitch, asks if it was on purpose. No brawl. He's on third base, pass ball, gets into home, slides underneath the pitcher who's diving, puts his knee right on his back, drives him into the ground.
To me, that doesn't look like the pitcher was trying to hurt him with his knee on his back. It looks
of course
like
he wasn't. Okay, he wasn't trying to hurt him at all. It was purely accidental. It was part of the play. They're both trying to make a play.
Yep, I'm with you.
Right? But at the same time, he just got hit, and the pitcher is on top of him. He made it. He made a better play than the pitcher made at the time. He's safe. He got up. He stands over him. He flexes. Walks away.
Right. Let the kids play.
Let the kids play.
Yep.
He gets a 2-game suspension for this. Yadier Molina, who actually starts the brawl, as Castellanos walking away. Castellanos stands there, by the way, for the rest of this whole brawl with his hands behind his back.
What was the 2-game suspension for? Did they say what the actual suspension was?
So Michael Hill, who is I don't know his exact title. I believe it's on-field like oversight of personnel. I'll have to find out his actual role. Issued a discipline on Castellanos, in quotations, for his aggressive actions and for inciting. Literally, that was his quote. So his bat flip, if you want to play the domino scenario, his bat flip turned into him getting beaned on purpose. So he is the one getting in trouble for getting headhunted. And then he slides into home. Yeah, granted, he flexed on the guy, but it was a hell of a play. Good for him. Let the kids play. And so he's getting suspended for 2 games, got kicked out, getting fined. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. how far back do we go? Do we go back to the person who scheduled the game for MLB? Like, is that how far back we have to go to find out who's at fault for this chain of events to happen? Like, come on. It was
I'm
10
with you.
plays ago.
Right. So is it Castellanos' fault for flipping the bat? Was that the catalyst? Was it the pitcher's fault for hanging the pitch that he jacked out of the stadium? Is it the catcher's fault for allowing the pass ball for this play to even occur? Is it the catcher's fault for pushing? Is it Castellanos' fault for flexing? All of these things technically could have led to anything. So I don't like the suspension. He's appealing it, by the way, which I'm happy he's appealing it.
What this looks like is it looks like this might have been incited during one of Trump's rallies that actually caused this.
We're going back to that. So politics.
No, but I mean, but in all actuality, I mean, that's what they're doing. So they're saying, you know, again, let the kids play. He didn't do anything. He came in, he flexed. But why is that? I mean, that's like saying if somebody flips a bat and the bench decides to clear, are we going to suspend the guy for flipping the bat even though we just watched an awesome little promo?
So
the only thing I don't know and we don't know is what was said, right? So there could be a lot of words being said right now that could have been reported by the umpire right when it happened. You know, I don't know that they could be, you know, like, you know, take that, you fucking pussy. Like, who knows what was said, right? But they should come out and say that for words used or for whatever used, you know, something like that, because they can't to sit there
and say, I don't think he said anything.
No,
I don't think he said anything.
Go back just a little bit when you show him walking up, right after the flex.
You really can't see it from that angle.
No, but I'm sure when he flexed, he sat down or he said something. But who knows? I'm just saying that's what my only assumption would be, and it'd have to be something pretty vulgar. But you know,
all right. So Gio, to your point, let me ask you this question: If you're an opposing team, let's say,
back it up.
You're talking about Yachty going at him.
No,
yeah. Molina's the one who starts all this.
Yeah.
Maybe the shoulder into the umpire probably didn't help either.
That's not a shoulder into the umpire. He didn't even know he was there.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that could be something they could get him at.
They said it was for inciting the brawl. Was the reason given for the 2-game suspension.
So Gio, the question is, all right, let's say you have, you know, a monster player who pulls a bat flip, and you still have 2 more games left in a series. Do you just clear the benches because of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that person gets thrown out for inciting a brawl?
Absolutely. If you miss a shot in the penalty area and there's a defender near you, do you go flying like he tripped you? Absolutely. Same exact thing.
No. A better example would be if somebody's within 2.5 feet of you and they swipe their hand, but it's still only within a foot of you. And you're LeBron James, do you just lay down on the court and get the call?
If you're losing a game, if you're losing a game in the World Cup, do you bite someone on the shoulder? Yes.
Right. Yeah. Do you headbutt somebody in the World Cup final and somehow get away with it?
You leave France out of this.
Well, you can't. You just can't. But no, you don't do these things.
Nobody get my Luis Suarez reference with him biting people.
But
no, we did.
I mean, my point is, how far? Seriously, how far does MLB want to go where they're going backwards to inciting something? I mean, it could be 5 fucking innings earlier that somebody got pissed off, and that's where the tension came from. I mean, come on, get out of your own fucking way. Baseball. I'm a huge baseball fan. I've actually watched the majority of the innings of every game so far this year, and I enjoy it. I really do. But baseball is tough enough for a general sports fan to watch, and they're making it harder.
I agree. They're making it hard. I think if Castellanos would have done anything, put his hand on anybody,
right,
then maybe. Then I'd be like, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, give him the suspension. But what's happening here is Castellanos just played some emotional baseball. Okay, the flex might have been going a little far, but Molina is the one who started the physical part of this entire endeavor.
Well, maybe the ball just got away from him.
I'll
he comes in and starts the shoving.
Yeah,
he's the one who comes in and starts the shoving.
If anybody's going to start it, it's going to be Yadier neck tattoo Molina. That dude, he is. My wife loves him. He is like the most badass looking MLB player on a roster right now. And if anybody's going to start that fight, it's going to be him. And I'd be fucking nervous if I was on the other side of that. He looks like a
Pablo
dangerous individual.
Sandoval.
But
Well,
if you run 3 steps to the left, he's not going to be able to get you. He's a giant slow panda.
Who, Sandoval?
Yeah, that's why he only ends up on first.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I was listening to that broadcast. That was opening day. I think it was opening day, right? Where he jacked a home run against us.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm listening to the Phillies broadcast, and they're making fun of his weight. And I'm like, he's going to hit a home run, and we absolutely fucking deserve it because of these 2 morons we have calling the game. And he fucking jacks one and ties it.
Was it Kruk that brought it up? Because of all people talking
No,
about it,
no, it wasn't Kruk. It was the Phillies broadcast.
Oh, you're okay. Gotcha.
well, like most baseball brawls, it ended up being much ado about nothing, where
Right.
people got a few good pushes in and everybody else just chirped and barked like they were going to do something, and nothing actually
The
happened.
fights of the 90s were the best.
Just a little something fun that we can talk about. Have you guys seen the trailer for the new Mortal Kombat movie coming out?
Yes.
I am fucking stoked for that movie.
Really?
Like, yeah. I mean, first of all, like, I love playing Mortal Kombat games as a kid. I just played Mortal Kombat 10 and Mortal Kombat 11. Like, I am like pumped for it. My man, the dude that was in The Last Samurai, the Angry Samurai, that dude's playing Scorpion. I love that guy. He was in Lost. I can't wait for this thing to come out, man. It looks awesome.
Okay.
That's all. That's all I wanted to say. I wanted to see if you guys saw the trailer and if you guys have any interest in seeing it, because I'm jacked and ready to go. And I really hope that they play a little bit of the Mortal Kombat theme song from the original movie by the Immortal, because that song was awesome.
Is this going to the theaters? Am I going to be able to go to AMC?
It's in a it's going to release on theater and HBO Max. I mean, look, I'm stoked for the movie, but I'm not stoked enough to go see that. Probably the next movie I'll actually go see in theaters will be Ghostbusters Afterlife, because build memories back, bitches.
So you're pumped and excited to see an action movie, but not pumped enough to go see it on the big screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love Ben Affleck, and I watched 4 hours worth of Justice League, and I was more than content and ecstatic that it was released on HBO Max and not in theaters. I don't have any interest in going to the theaters.
Really?
Why do I want to go to the theater? I can pause when I want to. I can snack when I want to without spending $12 on a thing of popcorn. I can pee when I want to without missing anything. Turn the volume up, turn the volume down. You know, whatever. It's better. It's better than going to a theater.
What's the premise of this movie?
Mortal Kombat?
I know the premise of the game.
Pretty much the same thing. I mean, like, so something happens. They're investigating. Starts out, I mean, at least from the trailer, it opens up. I think it's Sonya talking about an attack they were tracking, probably tracking Kano. He's always at the root of everything. You know, these U.S. soldiers are tracking Kano and his drug ring or something like that. And they're going in this investigation, and they send this team in, and this team gets slaughtered, and they find ice, and these people froze him. And then somehow this tournament comes up. They show this kid. He's got the mark of the tournament, which is a little dragon symbol. And then I imagine they end up going to Outworld, which is where this tournament takes place. People get their souls sucked out, test your might, finish them. Boom. There we go. It's going to be fucking awesome.
Wow.
We're going to have Sonya, Jax, Liu Kang, Raiden, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Kano, Cabal. No Johnny Cage, but I'm hoping he makes a cameo.
Yeah,
So,
Cabal.
I
I
mean,
liked Cabal. He was good in the game.
I loved playing the game as a kid, but I gotta be honest with you. I have nowhere near the knowledge you do at 38 years old. I can't remember a tenth of what you just spit out.
That's okay. You don't need to. All right, 2021 Mortal Kombat movie. Here we go. Evan, who's your favorite Mortal Kombat character?
Of all time?
All time, and why?
All right, so I love Johnny Cage, and he's not in the movie. But I love him.
Maybe not in the movie.
Well, yeah, I would say all signs point to no. But why is Johnny Cage my favorite character? First of all, he's cool as shit. He's goofy, and he gets a girl.
It's because you could see yourself being Johnny Cage.
I wish I was Johnny Cage. He's got a tattoo on his chest that says Johnny Cage, and he fights in sunglasses. And his
you have a title machine now, baby. You're on your way to being Johnny Cage.
And his move is a split ball punch. I love it. Second favorite would be Sub-Zero.
What percentage of women are you stronger than on Title Up? What are you up to now?
First of all, it's called tonal. And I'm
tonal.
stronger than 94% of women.
Okay. Well, you were in the 80s before, high 80s.
No, 92.
You were 92.
92
Okay.
was the last I said. I've only made 2% progress.
Hey, man. Keep pounding them ladies.
Yeah.
Frankie, who's your favorite? Your favorite Mortal Kombat character?
Yeah, probably Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
I'm with Evan, but just one of his choices.
By the way, Frank, here's a little piece of information for you. Up, up, down, down, run, block, run. Mortal Kombat 3. That's his finisher.
I thought you were going with up, up, down, down, left, right, AB, select, start.
All right, first of all, that is not the code for Contra, but good try.
Well, we knew where he was going with it.
Up, down, left, right, AB, select, start.
Cabal was
I'm gonna
tough as
defer.
shit in Mortal Kombat 2.
All right, Mike.
Cabal was super tough in Mortal Kombat 2.
Who was? I think Cabal was Mortal Kombat 3, not 2. I could be wrong.
Okay,
Maybe it was
3.
in 2.
Yeah, you're right. 3. You're right. It was 3, and he was tough as hell.
Yeah, he's the guy who ran through you, and then you got stuck spinning.
You got spun in, and you got uppercutted every time because it took the most juice out of you.
So, who was your favorite character, and why?
I think my favorite character was actually Raiden.
Yeah, he was pretty.
I really liked Raiden because his moves were really cool. They were easy. He was in the game from the beginning. He was one of the original 8 characters. So you could just progress with Raiden. He was in all the games. His moves were really useful. Like you could go through a whole pattern with Raiden, including throwing the blocks in. You could just do it, and then he would do all the moves for like the next.
Yeah, because he had that flying torpedo thing. He shot the lightning, and then he had the teleport where he could pop over on the other side. He was really amazing.
Top over there, he could throw his hat. He had a whole bunch of stuff that he.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm sorry, Kung Lao threw the hat. Raiden never
Yeah,
threw the hat.
Yeah, you're right. So he did the flying thing. He did the electricity, which was great.
And then the teleport.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean Liu Kang was always the easiest to play, as I think his little bicycle kick that he would do. You just held the low kick button for like 3 seconds and released it, and it would go off.
So that's the thing. So when you were Raiden, you could teleport on the other side, so he would just keep going the distance, and you could fly at him, drive into the wall, and uppercut him, and you were good.
But the other thing too is if you blocked the bicycle kick, or if he missed it, there was like 3. Like he would, I'm not gonna do the sound effects again, but he would go through, and if you blocked him, he'd hit it, and then he'd like do a circle up in the air, do a flip up in the air, and you could just wail on him, do a roundhouse or uppercut him and knock him through. Yeah. And if you didn't block it and you did that and he missed you, he did the same thing when he hit the wall. So made it nice. Same thing with his Liu Kang also had the air kick as well.
I wasn't excited to see this movie, but now I think I'm excited to see it. Not only see it, I think I'm going to tell my wife I have a surprise for her and take her and not tell her what we're doing and just see what happens. It's not going to go well, but it'll be fun.
If you promise popcorn and outside of the house when you have a baby, you're going to win. Right?
Yeah, you're not kidding. If the movie's 2 hours long and she goes to sleep, she'll be like, this was the greatest gift.
Greatest thing ever.
And by the way, watch the trailer. It actually does look pretty good.
We popped it on. It looked pretty good. They
so
obviously put some money into it.
I don't have HBO Max, so like when does this hit Netflix or one of the other subscriptions that
AMC or Regal? You got a Regal out by you, right? Regal.
Yeah. I think maybe, I don't know, somebody might have bought it now that nobody's gone there for a year.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, go to the theaters. Support your community. Go to the theater. Don't be like this guy. Oh, I'm going to throw money HBO Max. AT&T.
Why am I going to throw money at AMC?
To support them.
They're not a locally owned thing. Fuck them.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
HBO, all right, boys. Anything else?
Right. No, we're good to go. Go Phillies. Right. Go Phillies. Tied for the #1 record in baseball.
Who are they tied with?
The Reds, I believe, that's piss poor because I think they played the Pirates, so that's not fair. Tampa Bay, I believe.
Don't slight people. Every win is a win. And on that note, we are out.
Out.